Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ashley Mateo, also known as the founder of ClaimYourMagic.co. So by day, I am a purpose and empowerment coach for women, but this vlog series has literally nothing to do with that. This is purely a passion project of mine that I've had on my bucket list since I was in Taiwan, since before I went to Taiwan actually. But I don't know, life got away from me. 2020 has been wild and we are at the end of the year and I'm finally taking action to make this happen. I was in Taiwan right at the beginning of the pandemic, right before Taiwan closed all of its doors to outside countries, and I was really blessed because Taiwan was probably the safest out of all countries to be in to have when it came time for the coronavirus and things. But yeah, to give you a little background on why I was there, my boyfriend Vinny, who you'll see a bunch in the vlogs, he moved out there back in January as part of him following his own dreams. And in March, I decided to go visit him, what was supposed to be for 6 weeks as a work/vacation trip, but turned into 2.5 months out there. So yeah, I wanted to document the whole experience. Come along with me, enjoy the ride. This first vlog is really just about me traveling to the country, and potentially almost getting quarantined. And so you'll hear more about the stories as we go on. But yeah, and I will preface this by saying this first video is gonna be really short because I didn't vlog very much in the beginning, but you'll see towards the end, like, I have tons of footage. So I hope you enjoy. And yeah, I would love to hear any comments, suggestions, feedback, or any questions you might have about my time in Taiwan, down in the comments. To start off this journey, I flew out of the Logan Airport in Boston on March 9th, and this was very, very beginning stages of COVID. This is before masks have been mandated or even were suggested necessarily, but my parents are both nurses, so they were very, very prepared. When I went to Taiwan, they had given me a bunch, and so they were like, once you get into the airport, you have to have your mask on. You never know. And so luckily they gave me one, and I ended up being the only person in the airport wearing a mask. People looked at me funny, and this is obviously before we knew how serious this pandemic was in America. The first leg of the flight, so I had 3 flights total. The first flight was Boston to Toronto, Toronto to Seoul, or I think it's Incheon, and then Incheon to Taipei. And so when I took my first flight, I was the only person wearing a mask, I think. And then once I got to Toronto and we were flying to Incheon, I did see a lot of people wearing masks, and it makes sense because at that time, I think South Korea was a hotspot for Corona, and so I saw a lot of people wearing masks in the airport and people wearing them on the plane, and this wasn't really socially distanced yet, so there were still people in the same row as me, but as much as possible, the flight attendants were trying to space everybody out to be safe. The third flight, which was the last flight heading into Taipei, before I got on the flight, the flight attendants had told me, like, you're flying over, so you don't actually have to quarantine like they're saying with the rest of the flight. They had called me up basically, and so I was like, cool, sweet, don't have to deal with this. But when I was on the plane, they made you sign paperwork, and so one of the things that I remember looking at my paperwork, where you have to fill out the form and saying, like, I basically potential exposure. So there was a quarantine notice where you write down your, like, flight information, everything like that, and they'll ask you during the last 14 days, did you experience a fever, coughing, shortness of breath, all that kind of stuff? And then there was another section that was saying, have you been to China, Korea, Hong Kong, Italy, Macau, and then other? And so I checked off Korea because that was where my flight came from. And in filling this out, I ended up saying that I needed to quarantine for 14 days in Taiwan. And I mean, 2 weeks while I'm there for 6 weeks doesn't seem much, but I was already planning to travel around the country. I was supposed to see my boyfriend's family, all that kind of stuff outside of, me and him. So, I didn't really realize what I was doing, but I signed off all this paperwork. And, I will say Taiwan was really, really good at keeping track of everything. Everything was super, super organized when it came to tracking where people are coming from. When I was leaving the airport, they're like, how are you getting, because I had given them my address for my boyfriend's apartment. They're like, how are you going to get there? Because you're not allowed to take public transportation because you need to quarantine. But in my mind, I was like, whatever, like the flight attendant already told me I don't have to quarantine. But at the Taipei airport, I was like filling out this paperwork saying I do. But I was just like, I thought I could just get away with it. But clearly I was not. Truthfully, I was on a flight. It was over 24 hours of flying. So I was just like, it's fine. I'm saying we'll deal with it later. And so the next day, the first day in Taiwan, I went out and explored outside of my boyfriend's apartment and a local variety store that literally had every freaking thing there is possible.
They have hangers in the back, little toy gun, scrubber things, pens, pencils, blocks, whatever.
7-Eleven.
Out to go get beef noodle soup with my boyfriend, and we get a text message from their CDC, and he was just like, why are they telling me I need to check my temperature? And I was like, oh, maybe it's because I gave them your number. I didn't actually get a SIM card while I was out there. I actually got a Wi-Fi like hotspot, so I had just given him his number to the airport people. And so he was just like, what do you mean? Like they're telling you to check your temperature and quarantine stuff. I was like, well, I mean, they said that, but the flight attendant told me no. So I just was like, whatever. And he's like, no, we need to figure this out right now. And so after that, he had to start calling different like CDC or different organizations relating to quarantining. And these people are really, really good. They're quick. Like, I feel like in America, usually when you have to fill out this paperwork and do all these things, you have to go into an actual office. But these people were like, we're going to come to you. We're going to give you a phone so that you can answer us and make sure you're checking your temperature and all that stuff. And like, you can text us and let us know about all this information. Or if we have to call you, you'll answer. And then we sorted it out. There were like 2 or 3 different organizations that we had to talk to. And eventually we got it all sorted out. I had to fill out an affidavit saying like, I was only flying through Korea. I wasn't actually in Korea. Like I never left the airport basically, and I was not exposed. So I don't need to quarantine. And so I had to keep this piece of paper. I had it in my passport at all times because I was always so freaking nervous that like someone was gonna stop me and I would have to leave or something. Like after the affidavit was signed, I literally went out and got this like pouch, which had my passport information, the affidavit, as well as all of my flight tickets and things, because basically the lady who came by and had me sign the affidavit was just like, make sure you carry these with you at all times in case you get stopped. Like I doubt you will, but just in case, definitely have these on hand at all times. So the easiest way was literally carrying this pouch in my backpack at all times. And thank God there was that local like variety store, so I was able to get this really cheap. But yeah, that was such an intense thing. And like this lady literally came up in a moped and like came up to our apartment and had me sign everything. And Yeah, like I've never seen that. That would never happen in America. Like you would have to go fall in line for like how many hours. And this lady came in like a couple hours. All we had to do was chill at home and just let her in when she was here. But it was like the most terrifying time because I was like, oh my God, I don't, it's like, I think I'm gonna have to get quarantined. I think I won't be able to like leave for 2 weeks. And I think we might have to cancel on your family. And I felt so, so bad because, it was the first time I was meeting them because none of them live in America. So like I would never probably have another opportunity to see them again. So I got really nervous, but luckily everything sorted itself out. The universe was on my side, thank God. And my boyfriend is super patient, was really, really helpful with me. So shout out to you, babe. By the time that we finished, it was almost dinner time. So we had some dumplings, which were absolutely bomb. This is like a famous spot that was near us. So, after all the quarantine things were settled, we were able to finally take a day trip out. We only did a day trip first because in the next vlog, you'll see we're going to be going to Taipei, um, which is about 5 hours from where my boyfriend lives. We were staying down in the south in Pingdong, and Taipei is the north. So, while we were down south, we decided to take a day trip to this place called Wutai. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but basically it's this township that's in the mountains that's near where he lives, maybe like half hour from it. And it was absolutely beautiful. It was all mountainous, and it was pretty empty because Corona. um, but we were able to walk around this village, township area and see all the local things. And we ended up stopping into a shop or a cafe that we were able to see like the total like view of like the mountains, and it was absolutely beautiful. So yeah, that's really that on my first video of this vlog series in Taiwan. I'm not really sure how many videos are going to be part of this series, but I'm just going to be sharing with y'all all of the experiences that I had while I was out there as much as possible. So yeah, if you want to know when the next video is going to be up, definitely hit the subscribe button and have the little bell notification so that you know when the first ones come up. And I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button and shared with other people that you know would be interested in learning about this experience in Taiwan, or even just miss traveling, honestly, because let's be real, 2020 has really grounded a lot of us down. So I just really wanted to share my experience because I know some people are missing traveling, and I just want to share that. So I love you all. I will see you in the next one. Bye.